welcome to the Deep Dive. You gave us a stack of source material detailing some of the most emotionally charged moments in human connection. We're talking love, jealousy, infidelity.
And we're here to extract the raw, surprising, and often contradictory nuggets of knowledge that are woven into all this popular music.
Yeah, we're taking a deep dive into the tangled, messy, sometimes, toxic, but always compelling web of fidelity and betrayal across decades of music. Pop, country, R&B.
We've got lyrical analyses, sociological commentaries on relationship dynamics, and even some hard data on lyrical trends from the Billboard Hot 100.
So our mission today really is to connect the dots. How do we reconcile the pure heartbreak you hear in songs about cheating with the, calculated acceptance in songs about non-monogamous arrangements?
And what does it all say about our culture? We're going to explore how music gives voice to relationships that defy the usual rules.
And I think we have to start where the most dramatic stories always begin.
Exactly. The shock, the denial, and that searing, immediate pain of betrayal.
Okay, let's unpack this. That initial moment of discovery is captured so perfectly in pop music. It's that blend of shock and despair, but it's mixed with this immediate need for the other person to feel what you're feeling.
It is. You see the narrator in one of the sources, it's an unnamed pop song, realizing the whole relationship was just a game.
Right.
The trust is just gone. And the only thing they can cling to is this idea of vengeance, hoping their betrayal keeps the cheater up at night. The line is, "Baby, how do you sleep when you lie to me?" It's just a desperate plea for some kind of accountability.
And if that's desperation, then you have something like Nash's "I hate you, I love you," which is just that messy, toxic, internal burn.
Oh, yeah.
The narrator admits they still feel this mix of attraction and total resentment, and then they issue that really pointed warning. If I pulled a "you" on you, you wouldn't like that.
It's pain, but it's also a threat of, mutual destruction.
Totally.
And what's really fascinating is tracking how that expression of pain has evolved. I mean, historically, the response was often so resigned, so demure.
You mean like in older songs?
Yeah, think of Kitty Wells' Unloved, Unwanted. It's from 1962. The narrator is deeply sad. She's writing this open letter to her husband about the misery he's caused. But the response is passive. It's focused on her own suffering. The affair is barely even mentioned directly.
So if we fast forward to today, the response is anything but passive. We've seen this huge cultural shift toward empowerment, right? And that translates directly into immediate, often physical retaliation.
Precisely. That's the empowered retaliator taking center stage. Carrie Underwood's Before He Cheats, that visceral image of just smashing up the car.
I mean, everyone knows that song.
And Jasmine Sullivan's Bust Your Windows is even more explicit. It celebrates that immediate, violent reaction. She's saying, "I bust the windows out your car after I saw you laying next to her."
I'm glad I did it because you had to learn.
Exactly. It's a complete shift from that quiet suffering of the past.
I think modern listeners really gravitate toward that immediate action because it's a form of control in a situation where you felt completely powerless.
Yeah.
It's cathartic.
It really is. It speaks to a cultural moment where, silence and resignation are just not seen as acceptable responses to disrespect anymore.
Okay, so we've covered the external rage, but the internal devastation is often the heavier toll. I mean, the self-doubt that creeps in when you start internalizing the failure.
This is where the music strips away the anger and gets just truly vulnerable. Take SEA's Drew Barrymore. The insecurity is palpable.
Oh, it's so wrong.
The narrator feels completely unworthy, asking questions like, "Am I warm enough, baby, outside for you?" And then she apologizes for just existing. "I'm sorry I'm not more attractive. I'm sorry I'm not more ladylike."
She's blaming herself, believing that if she were somehow more or better, the relationship would have survived. It's that war against the mirror that Pink sang about years earlier in Don't Let Me Get Me.
Yeah, that's a great comparison.
Just wanting to be somebody else is heartbreaking because the betrayal leads to this kind of self-erasure.
And that self-blame is often the most destructive part of infidelity.
Before we move on, we have to mention this incredible piece of logic we found in the source material, which turns betrayal into something positive. It's almost unbelievable.
Right, the song is Chicago's 1986 hit, If She Would Have Been Faithful.
Wait, Chicago?
Yes. And this track just completely flips the script. The narrator claims the infidelity was actually a good thing because it cleared the path for him to find real love with someone new. The lyric is, "If she would have been faithful, if she could have been true, then I would have been cheated. I would never know real love. I would have missed out on you."
Wow. That is next level level emotional gymnastics. Imagine thanking your ex for cheating on you. That song must have caused some arguments back in '86.
It's the ultimate way to resolve cognitive dissonance, isn't it? If you can reframe a horrible event as essential to your current happiness, it stops being painful.
Okay, so moving on. We need to look at the perspective that often faces the most judgment. The cheaters and the affair partners themselves. How do they justify their actions in a song?
Well, when you look at songs from the cheater's point of view, the reactions are all over the place. They range from deep regret to this complete fatalistic acceptance.
Like it was just meant to be.
Exactly. Amy Winehouse's You Know I'm No Good falls right into that fatalistic category. She sees herself as trouble, basically accepting that, leopards can't change their spots.
But is that really acceptance, or is it a defense mechanism? If you call it fate or nature, you don't have to fix the destructive behavior.
That's the critical question. And in pop music, self-acceptance and rationalization can look almost identical. Compare that to Trey Songz's Last Time, which is so transparently a lie.
Right.
He's promising his lover this is absolutely the last time he cheats on his main partner. He sings, "Girl, this is the last time," but then in the same breath admits, "I just can't get enough."
The lie is right there in the lyrics. He acknowledges the guilt just enough to make the promise, but he knows he won't keep it.
And then you step into the world of the affair partner, the so-called other woman. SCA addresses this so directly in The Weeknd. The narrator is fully aware she's the mistress.
And she's not apologizing for it.
Not at all. She compares herself to The Weeknd, a temporary, reliable pleasure, and she sets these clear boundaries, or maybe their demands. I don't care as long as you're here by 10:30.
It sounds like a calculated transactional arrangement, even if it carries this huge emotional risk.
It is. It's an admission that she knows her place, but she's accepting it on her own terms. It has to follow a schedule. We see similar ground in Lana Del Rey's The Other Woman, but that one focuses more on the loneliness and isolation of the role.
And sometimes, the affair partner tries to shift the blame entirely.
That's the core of Sunny Sweeney's country song, Annie. The affair partner basically rationalizes sleeping with a married man by telling the wife it was her fault.
Wow.
Yeah, she wails that the man needed love he said he never got from you. That kind of blame shift requires some serious mental gymnastics.
Which brings us to Forbidden Love, where it's less about deceit and more about these overwhelming moral or societal constraints that make the relationship impossible.
The price of secrecy in these relationships can be just astronomically high. There's no better example than the classic country song, Lefty Frizzle's Long Black Veil.
That song is so haunting. Remind us of the story.
It's about a man who's falsely accused of murder. He has a perfect alibi, but he refuses to use it because it would reveal he was having an affair with his best friend's wife.
So he chooses silence.
He chooses silence and execution over betraying the secrecy of their love. His sacrifice is just absolute.
That is profound. A life given up for a secret. On the other end of that, you have songs focused on the crushing emotional toll that secrecy takes on the guilty partner.
Like Rihanna's Unfaithful, it's this deeply emotional ballad about the shame of betraying someone you do love while being drawn to someone else. And George Michael's Careless Whisper covers similar ground, relationship just destroyed by regret.
And then there's the painful act of waiting. Whitney Houston's Saving All My Love for You.
A classic.
She captures that struggle of loving someone who belongs to another, just holding on, saving her love for him, clinging to this hope for a future that might never actually happen.
Right. It emphasizes that these affairs aren't just physical. They're long-term emotional investments where one person, usually the woman, is putting her entire life on hold.
So the emotional stakes are incredibly high in those stories. But what happens when infidelity isn't hidden at all? When it's actually an acknowledged or even celebrated part of the arrangement?
That's where we get into these more complex arrangements where non-monogamy is explicitly on the table. And this is where some of the sociological concepts we found really start to overlap with consumer culture.
Let's start with the provocative stuff. We have Britney Spears' 2009 hit 3. The lyrics are this explicit, racy proposal for a sexual triad. She uses the metaphor of Peter, Paul, and Mary.
And suggests that 3 is a charm, 2 is not the same. What's remarkable about that track is how quickly society just kind of processed it.
It barely made a ripple, controversy-wise.
Right. It was deeply suggestive, but it caused surprisingly little moral panic and just became another dance pop hit. It hints at a cultural desensitization or maybe a shifting acceptance.
We also see arrangements based on mutual use, like in Bill Withers' classic, Use Me.
A fantastic song.
The narrator knows his friends are warning him, and he accepts being used because to him the whole thing is transactional and mutually satisfying.
He sings, "It ain't too bad the way you're using me, because I sure am using you to do the things you do." This transactional frame is so important because it sidesteps all the traditional morality of love and just focuses on utility.
And this is where we can bring in that idea of consumer culture. If we live in a society that values constant newness and teaches us that forever is overrated, does that leak into our relationships?
Absolutely. The research suggests that consumer culture promotes a constant search for newness and experimentation, which can make traditional monogamy feel, well, boring.
So infidelity or even non-monogamy can become a form of recreation, an outsourced need.
Precisely. Sociologically, affairs are often framed as sexual detours or side trips for the person in the committed relationship. Their life continues as normal, but they outsource certain needs to another partner.
And the cost is usually paid by the single person in that arrangement.
Yes. The research highlights the difficult politics of this. The single woman involved is sometimes described as being removed from circulation. She's waiting to be chosen, and her whole life is subordinated to the whims of the person who's already committed.
It sounds like an arrangement where only one person is truly free to seek that newness, which makes this final example so interesting. MC Kevin O'Chris's Brazilian track, La Aberta, Open Relationship.
That track really encapsulates this modern compartmentalization. In bed I love you, on the street it doesn't even seem like you care.
It just captures that reality where affection and intimacy are totally separate from public validation. So we've covered this huge spectrum, from windows being smashed in rage to these calculated contractual arrangements. We've seen relationships treated as sacred sacrifices and as, disposable goods. But let's zoom out. How do these intense stress lyrics fit into the broader trends in pop music over the last 50 years?
This is where the data and the emotion get really fascinating. There's a long-term academic analysis of lyrical trends in the Billboard Hot 100 from 1973 to 2023.
50 years of music.
50 years. And it shows this significant shift in the emotional landscape of popular music as a whole.
And that shift is definitely not a happy one. What does the data specifically say?
Over those 5 decades, there's been a strong positive correlation between time and the frequency of stress-related language. Songs are more often talking about anxiety, pressure, and conflict. And similarly, the overall sentiment in lyrics is correlated negatively with time, so a substantial increase in both negative and stress-related language across the board.
That's a profound finding. So even as our relationships are depicted as more varied and maybe more free in terms of structure, the underlying lyrical mood is getting harsher and more stressed. Why is that?
Well, it probably mirrors the societal anxiety we're all experiencing, but it also reflects a change in song structure itself. The analysis also found that compressibility, which is a measure of repetition and predictability, increased over time.
Okay, we need to clarify that. What does increased compressibility actually mean for a song lyric?
It means the lyrics are getting structurally simpler. They're more repetitive, less complex, more predictable. This is likely tied to our digital environment where, rapid identification and repetition are key for viral success and streaming.
A simpler song is easier to consume quickly.
Basically. And that ties directly into how pop success is measured today and why those metrics matter for what you hear. We have to remember how the Hot 100 actually defines a hit.
Right. It's sales, streaming, and airplay. But critically, and this trips a lot of people up, the Hot 100 does not count social media view counts.
So a viral TikTok challenge is like 1 million people looking at a store display. The Hot 100 only counts the people who actually buy the song or stream it repeatedly on Spotify or hear it on the radio.
Which means chart success is still heavily driven by what they call artist stan consumption.
Right, that initial rush of streams and sales from dedicated fans versus the more casual, long-term consumption from airplay.
The chart rankings are fun, but they aren't the be-all, end-all measure of a song's cultural impact.
Exactly. I mean, some songs have immense cultural impact, but never hit the top 10. Look at Billie Eilish's Ocean Eyes. It's incredibly well-known, millions of streams, but it only peaked at number 84 on the Hot 100.
Right. And you can contrast two kinds of success. A song that peaks fast at number 1 versus one that earns recurrent hit status, meaning it just maintains strong, long-term streams for years. They're both successes, but they tell a different story.
So, to bring this all together, music gives voice to the entire confusing, contradictory spectrum of relational conflict. It runs the gamut from the despair of traditional cheating songs to the calculated acceptance of non-monogamy.
Crucially, the lyrical data shows that even as the structures of our relationships become more varied, the underlying emotional core of pop music is getting more and more charged with stress and negativity.
The music is reflecting a collective stressed response to all this relational volatility.
So what's the lasting takeaway for you, the listener, as you navigate your own relationships in this stressed, constantly evolving culture?
I think we have to revisit that concept of consumerism. If our culture values constant acquisition and the search for newness, if we're taught that forever is overrated when it comes to products, does that consumerist mindset start to apply pressure to our intimate partnerships?
That is the provocative thought we're left with. Does the impulse to constantly search for a better or new love, to outsource emotional functions, does that stem from believing our deep relationships are just another item on the consumer checklist, subject to becoming obsolete, regardless of the emotional cost? Something to mull over until the next deep dive.